Hey guys!
This is the ECCO Show.
Echo.
Who are you?
Me?
What have you done with Fedge?
I'm Pat Attack. You know me.
I do, but where's Fedge?
Apparently, Fedge is actually Mr. Fedge. And Mr. Fedge is a teacher, actually, for all this time. So actually, school's been starting back, and
No, I think he mentioned that to me one time.
Yeah, so Fedge is in a classroom of his own.
See, Mr. Fedge may be a teacher, but contrary to my name, I'm not actually a DJ, so yeah.
That's true, and I don't normally attack people.
Yeah, that's good.
Yeah,
that's
I'll
good.
talk about where that name came from
I'd
in a little
feel
bit, though.
unsafe if that was the case.
Yeah, I know I do the whole thing, but really it's, yeah.
But Fedge will probably be on here some other time, right?
Yeah, he definitely let us know
Okay.
that he'd be around. We'd be able to talk to him.
Maybe do like some questions for us, too.
Yeah.
That would be fun. That would
Yeah,
be
he's
cool.
always wanted to be on that side of it. He always wanted to ask the questions.
Yeah.
Yeah.
He's always been, the questionnaire, and the silly.
Yeah.
Well, if we haven't introduced ourselves already, this is the ECCO Show, and we're glad you're joining us because I'm DJ Shawnee D.
And I'm Pat Attack.
Wow.
I don't see. I feel like I was just hurting someone. That's not what it means.
No.
That's just my name. It's just my name. I don't attack people. I promise.
So, I'm going to start us off with DJ Shawnee D's fun fact. You ready for the fun fact?
Yeah.
So, the fun fact is, I'm going to ask you guys real quick. So, do you think you could see your nose, Pat? Can you see your nose?
In the mirror?
Like right now. Can you see your nose?
No.
Okay. Well, I'm going to do a challenge real quick. Look for your nose right now. And you guys do this too. Look at your nose. Can you see it? No, I don't think so, right?
No.
Okay. So now, close one eye and stare at your nose.
Which one?
Either one. It's fine. Either one. Okay. I can see my nose now. Can you see your nose? Can you see your nose? Yeah, you can see it a little bit?
The very end.
Did you know that you can always see your nose when both eyes are open? And to prove that, I just closed one eye because you can hear it. You okay there, buddy? Your face is
stuck.
Yeah, I know. There you go. Got you unglued there for a second.
Don't do it for too long.
Yeah, it's like sitting too close to the TV, right? Your eyes just go crossed. But you can always see your nose, which is a super cool thing. But your brain consciously is seeing it as a distraction. So it says, well, I don't want to see. I want to see things below my nose. So you can actually see your nose all the time, but your brain blocks it out.
How often do our eyes do that?
All the time. Actually, they block out stuff all the time. And they actually assume things that are happening that happen normally. So they kind of take on traditions, too. It's pretty cool.
So is that bad actually there? Or
No. No, it's not. Maybe your eyes are
then
crossing.
what made that noise?
Your eyes are crossing. Maybe your ears were crossed, too.
How do we fix it? I can't stop.
I don't know. We just got to focus, right? We got to focus. Focus.
Okay.
And I know something that'll help us focus.
Yeah, what?
The memory verse.
Memory verse.
Let's
Okay.
get into the memory verse. Here we
Yeah.
go. And hey, guys, when we go through the memory verse, make sure you guys are doing the motions along with them, too. Okay?
All right.
Let's do it.
Hey guys, here's your memory verse for the week. Lord my God, you have done many things, your wondrous works and your plans for us. None can compare with you. If I were to report and speak of them, they are more than can be told. Psalms 40, verse 5.
Wow, those are some great
Yeah.
actions.
I really like that
actions.
there are motions with it because
Yes.
sometimes it's hard for me to remember just an entire verse, but like when I have the motions, it kind of helps me to keep that in my memory.
Definitely. I think
Yeah.
that's what they're for too, is so that when we forget the verse, we can remember the hand motions and the body motions to then remember the verse and helps
Yeah.
us, Those
Really,
things
really
work
good.
together.
Yeah.
It's kind of like singing a song to remember math facts, You ever done that? No.
I knew a couple people that did, but I really like math, and so I like numbers. But I did other things to help me remember like numbers and things like that.
Oh, yeah?
Mhm.
Yeah.
So like I really like sports, and so I would remember numbers associated with like different players and different athletes and stuff.
That's cool. Right on.
Yeah.
Well, you know what's super cool too?
You?
Well, I appreciate that, Pat Jack, and I think you're equally as cool.
Thank you.
But something that's also very cool is answering the question of the day.
The question of the day.
The question of the day.
Who's got the question of the day? Do you have it?
No, I don't actually. Let's turn it over to our volunteer. They actually have our question of the day.
Okay.
So the question of the week. Wow. I wish I could be there with you all. Super excited that I can still come to you from my classroom, making magical memories with Mr. Fedge. That's right, I am a teacher. But question of the week. Let's get back to that. We all need food. to live. So, what do we do when we get really hungry? Well, let's see. I have a tendency to eat everything in sight. Yeah, I start to eat things. I start to nibble on Mickey. Or I start to imagine he's got food for me. Thank you, Mickey, for the food. Oh, yeah, I got invisible food. So yummy. When I get really, really hungry, I can get cranky. And if I get cranky, I start to really go berserk. I get hangry, and that's not okay, because then I've got to calm down. Yeah, but then as soon as I eat, I'm good to go. So the question is, what do you all do when you get hungry?
I don't know about you, Pat, but I get a little hangry, as I like to call it, you know? If I'm really hungry, sometimes I get a little upset.
I told you earlier that my name, Pat Attack, did not come from attacking people.
Oh, really?
I will attack food.
Oh.
When I'm hungry, I'm like an animal.
Yikes.
And not just any animal, because I've never seen a bunny just attack, their meal, except one time in some movie that I watched.
Okay.
But really, I'm like a bear or something like that. And not only that, like when I want my food, if people are in the way, it's kind of like, if I'm really focused on that and people are like, man, you're really enjoying that. I'm like, ah. Yeah, I will tear it apart.
Almost like a dog defending their food.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah. So I really enjoy food and I get really hungry. I can eat a lot.
You can eat a lot.
Yeah.
So what's the most you've ever eaten, Pat?
There was this one time when there are different instances because it depends on the food.
Yeah.
One time when I was younger, I was probably in 3rd grade, I ate 11 breadsticks.
Oh my God.
Yeah. With other food. But
yes,
the bread
of course,
specifically was just really, really good.
Yes.
I like bread a lot.
Bread is good. Mm-hmm. Sometimes too much fills us up,
Yeah.
Yeah.
No doubt about it.
Did you know that bread is an important part of our story today?
I think you said something about that.
Yeah, so there was a time when there was a giant crowd of people, over 5,000 people to be exact.
5,000?
5,000! They were super hungry, right? And maybe they were even like ravagingly hungry for food like you are, right?
That might have been dangerous. You had that many people that wanted food.
Jesus didn't have enough food to feed them. But guess what?
He went to the store?
No.
They didn't have Walmarts?
No, he didn't just run to the store. He multiplied it himself.
How?
He's Jesus. Isn't that cool? He made enough food for that many people.
That's unbelievable.
Yeah. It's a miracle, one would say.
Yeah.
Pretty cool, huh? Isn't that neat?
Yeah, so that's what we're learning about today?
That is what we're learning about today.
What did you guys talk about when I wasn't here last week?
Well, you actually...
I watched the video.
Oh, okay.
But sometimes like I can watch a video just like sometimes I can read my Bible and I can learn so much from those things. But it really helps to be around other people that kind of talk about it. So I feel like I missed out.
Last week we learned about calming the storm. So you ever been in the midst of a storm?
A couple times, yeah.
Yeah. Sometimes you can be pretty scared, or you can be fearful, or those storms can be, whether they're real or metaphorical, they can be a little hectic sometimes, right?
Yeah.
And he talked about how Jesus
They
calmed...
can even be dangerous.
Yes, absolutely.
Storms can even hurt people.
And the disciples that were on the boat in the midst of this storm, they were very scared. And Jesus calmed the storm, and he woke up, and the disciples stepped back and said, "Who is this man who calms the sea with his voice?" Isn't that crazy?
Sometimes I forget that Jesus isn't just control or know me, right? Jesus is God. He knows everything, and not only that, he has control of all things.
Yep. So let's learn about Jesus feeding the 5,000, should we?
Yeah.
All right, let's watch the video.
Jesus' disciples had been hard at work. They had been healing people and teaching them. So many people came and went that the disciples did not even have time to eat. So Jesus said to them, "Come with me. Let's go to a quiet place where we can be alone and get some rest." Jesus and his disciples got into a boat to cross the Sea of Galilee, but many people saw them leaving. The people traveled by foot and they ran ahead of Jesus. When Jesus and his disciples got to the shore, the people were already there waiting for them. Jesus saw the crowd, and he cared about them because they were like sheep who needed a shepherd. So Jesus taught the people many things about God's kingdom, and he healed people who were sick. By this time, it was late in the day. Jesus' disciples came to him and said, "We are out in the middle of nowhere, and it's getting late. Tell the people to go away so they can go to the farms and villages to buy themselves something to eat." But Jesus said, "They don't need to go away. You give them something to eat." Jesus' disciples were confused. "We can't feed this many people," they said. "It would cost a whole year's pay to buy enough bread for them to eat," Philip said. Jesus asked, "How many loaves of bread do you have? Go look." Jesus' disciple Andrew said, "A boy here has 5 loaves and 2 fish, but what good will that do for so many people?" Jesus told the disciples to instruct everyone to sit down. So all the people sat down in big groups on the grass. Jesus took the 5 loaves of bread and the 2 fish. He looked up to heaven, and then he blessed the bread. He broke it into pieces and gave it to the disciples. He also divided up the fish. The disciples passed out the food to the people, and everyone ate until they were full. Then Jesus told the disciples to collect any leftover food. The disciples collected 12 baskets full of pieces of bread and fish. Jesus fed about 5,000 men that day, plus women and children. By feeding the 5,000, Jesus provided for the physical needs of the crowd. The next day, Jesus called himself the bread of life. Only Jesus is able to satisfy our souls forever by providing forgiveness, peace with God, and eternal life.
Wow. Oh, that was such a good video. Do you like that, Sean?
I did. I really did. Yeah.
I really did as
Yeah.
well.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's good.
It's a good story.
It is.
Yeah. I like it. It's interesting. Like we were talking about bread and how much, 5,000, that's 5,000 people. It's a lot of people.
It's a lot of people. So normally we have you go over some questions. Do you have some questions to ask us today?
Yeah, I do. So the first question, it says, why did Jesus call himself the bread of life?
Okay. Why did Jesus call himself the bread of life? I do know in the Lord's Prayer it says, "Give us today our daily bread." So maybe it's saying that Jesus is enough for every single day, but sometimes we need to rely on him every single day, as that's saying, right? So maybe he's the breath of life each and every day. The bread of life, we need to be relying on him to not only physically eat, but we need to spiritually eat and commune with him every single day.
I think it's so important in talking about the difference of our physical needs and our spiritual needs. And we talk a lot about what did Jesus come to do? Because we see Jesus has healed people. Jesus has fed people. Jesus has taught, but at the same time, Jesus has taught people about what God is like. Jesus had modeled for us what a perfect relationship with God looked like. And I love that idea of daily dependence, and every day, God will provide for our needs as far as our physical needs, but also he invites us to be spiritually provided for.
Yeah.
Just did you know in the Old Testament, when Moses and the Israelites were going through the wilderness, that they didn't know where their food was going to come from, and God provided manna, which actually means what is it?
Yeah.
They didn't even know what it was, but it was this bread that essentially just kind of appeared on the ground every day. Just a little bit, but we just see that in that way, it's sustaining, right? He sustained his people, and he does that in more ways than just physical.
Yeah, that's good. Really good stuff.
The next question, it says, how can we learn to trust Jesus more?
How can we learn to trust Jesus more? I think that goes back to that daily dependence, right? We need to be in prayer more. We need to be in daily community with him more, because if you guys have friends out there at home, right? You guys wouldn't call them friends if you didn't see them all the time, right? So
that's true.
Yeah, so the people that we call friends, we have a good relationship with. So I think really to answer that is, how do we trust Jesus more? How do we learn to be in community with him more? Is to spend time with him more. And so that's praying more, and that's reading our Bible more, and really understanding who Jesus is in our lives.
Yeah, and I really like talking about we need to pray.
Yeah.
We need to read our Bible. And sometimes we look at those things like, well, those are just two things that I'm supposed to do, and it takes up all this time. Well, like, what about the stuff I want to do? You know, or like, why do I have to do those specific things? Like, why are those the important things? But you said it before, like, we need to have a relationship with God. You know, we're invited to have a relationship there. And if we think about our relationships, who's your best friend? Who's your best friend that you know?
Probably my wife.
Yeah, me too. And do you talk to her?
Oh, all the time.
Every day.
Yeah.
Right? And so if we think about that as far as like, how do we talk to Jesus? Well, that's what prayer is. You know, and you know, we've talked about so many times before, like, we don't have to say these specific things, you know, say like in the Lord's Prayer, like we didn't have to say those specific things, but whenever we pray, we can just talk to God about what was going on in our day, right? We can thank him, we can apologize, we talk about the importance of repentance. We can just tell him, you know, what's going on.
That's good
right?
stuff.
And the other thing is like, well, our wives are our best friends. Do we talk to them? Yes. Do they talk to us? Yes. And you know, I don't necessarily think, like, God hasn't just spoken like, hey, Patrick, you know, this, you know, in that I've heard with my ears, but how I hear from God is when I read my Bible, right? That's God's way of talking to us.
Yeah.
Right? And
that's why it calls it the living word, because there's certain times in our lives where different or same Bible verses might speak in our lives differently because we're going through other things, or God's revealing certain things to us in different ways, and I think that's really good.
And so that's the importance with the relationship, I think, is that, well, we're talking to God and we're understanding how God will speak to us.
That's really good.
Yeah.
It's really good.
These are good questions. And guys, these questions, we didn't just answer them in the fullest. Right? These are things that we can talk about, we can think about with others or in our alone time with God, and we can do that, well, I think our entire lives. We can continue to grow and do these things more. So, guys, it would be awesome if you guys would have conversations and talk about some of these questions and talking about the story with your families. But yeah.
I think that's really good, Pat Attack.
I enjoyed this time. I like talking about these questions.
That was awesome. Well, you know what it's time for now?
Lunch?
No, not quite. We're almost there.
Okay.
I know.
I was getting hungry. We've been talking about bread.
I know.
Food.
It is difficult talking about food and not thinking about food, right? But it's time for the challenge of the day.
The challenge of the day.
The challenge of the day.
Was that it?
Yeah, it was great. But before we get to the challenge of the day, let's watch videos from last week's challenge that they've sent in. Is that
I get to stay and watch the videos today?
Duh.
Let's do it.
I'm gonna name some things, Shiny. And if it's possible, if you can do it, kids at home, or if you think you can do it, you're going to move to this side of your screen. I'm gonna look at can you play basketball? Can you play basketball? Is this like if it's possible, or can I do it now? If it's just possible. Planting a tree.
Planting a tree.
Planting a tree.
Yeah, I could probably do that.
Yeah. I don't know. Controlling the weather. We're kind of talking about this one.
Weather.
Make sure you're doing this at home. Controlling the weather. I bet the silverback gorilla can do this one.
Yeah.
Lift a school bus.
Good.
Lift a school bus. Is that possible? Or is that possible?
I don't know.
I can have mighty strength like Captain America.
Think fast, Pat. Good job.
Okay.
Good thinking.
I'm going to be honest with you. I can't do this challenge of the day.
Oh, it's not juggling. We're just playing a game that's involving these, or
thank
one
goodness.
of them that I gave to you. Do you mind if we just use that one?
Yeah.
Wait. Okay. Yeah. We're just gonna use that one.
Okay. I like the blue one, but no, this is fine.
The green one's cool.
This one's cool.
All right.
It's got a little bit of blue in it.
Are you ready to play a challenge?
Yeah.
This one's gonna be really fun. And guys, we want to encourage you guys to play at home too. So This is going to be more of a group game, but since there's only the two of us, we're going to play just the two of us today. Is that okay? Is that okay?
Yeah, wish Fedge were here. He would probably love this.
Yes, it would be fun with Fedge.
He always liked the games.
He does. So, guys out there, get a big group of your friends or family members, or even like Fedge used to say, your hamster, right?
Yep. Or
maybe they might
bat.
be able, the bat. I don't know if they'll be able to play with you though. They're like up high and we're down here, so maybe it might be a little tough. But get a group of people to play together, and then we'll play this game together. So the game's going to be called, if you guys have played hot potato, it's basically the same, but we're going to play some hot loaf bread.
Hot loaf bread.
Hot loaf of bread. So it's going to be a hot loaf of bread. The bread just came out of the oven, and we're going to pass this back and forth. Exactly, just like, it's perfect. And there's going to be some music that's playing in the background. When the music stops, if you're the last one with the hot loaf of bread, you're out. But there's a special addendum, okay? That just means something that you have to do.
Addendum.
Yep, addendum.
That sounds like a time when I was telling a story and I was talking about this one time that I went to the beach and Addendum fell down.
Okay, so anyway, if you get caught with the bread, then you got a hot loaf of bread in your hands. So you got to tell the people in the circle how much of that full loaf of bread you could eat. Does that make sense?
4.
Wow. Okay, well, we're not playing yet. Okay. So you keep that answer right in your pocket. Okie doke?
You got it.
You good? All right, so we're going to play here. And guys, we want you to play at home too, all right?
Yeah.
So when that music starts, we got to start tossing this ball, okay? You ready?
Ready?
All right, here we go.
All right, hit it.
All right, how much of that loaf of bread could you eat?
I think I could eat a loaf.
A full loaf?
I think I eat a full loaf.
A full loaf of bread?
It's hard for me to only eat half.
That's true.
Like if I ever go out to eat and like I don't finish my whole meal necessarily, and I'm like, I gotta eat all of it.
Yeah.
You know, that's always what I try to do.
Yeah, that's true.
Yeah.
Are you gonna play again?
Yeah, I guess. I'm gonna try to win this time.
Let's play again. All right.
Oh!
Get it! 5-second rule.
It's still good. Bread's always good.
I get stuck with this thing.
Woo!
All right. Honestly, normally when I eat like sandwiches and stuff, I probably use only like 2 sandwiches, so maybe like a quarter of the loaf. I don't think I could even eat a half. I do love bread though.
Yeah.
Like really, really fresh bread right out of the oven.
Yeah.
Yeah. You want to play one more time?
One more.
One more time.
To decide. Because we're tied right now.
Yeah, we are. Here we go. You ready?
Right.
Set.
Let's do this.
It's like volleyball.
Back!
He lost.
All right, so.
He lost.
Yeah, so how many loaves could you eat?
That's almost like Fedge's question. How much wood could a woodchuck chuck if a woodchuck could chuck wood?
How much could a bat eat? I'm not even going to go there. I have to write it down before I said it.
You would.
Yeah.
Well, that's it. Hey, play that game at home and please, please, please send in your videos so Pat Attack and I can watch them, right?
Yes.
So we can feature you here on the ECCO Show.
That's right. Well, we'll see you guys next time. For now, we need to figure out how much bread this bat could eat.
That's true. When we figure it out, we'll tell you next week, okay?
Yep. Anyway.
That's it for us on the ECCO Show. I'm Shawnee D.
I'm Pat Attack.
See you guys.
Hey, Bats.
I can see my nose now. Can you see your nose? Can you see your nose? Yeah, you
Yep,
see it a
just
little bit?
the very end.
Shawnee D's fun fact. This is literally just something that I know. That you can drop it from about this height, and if they stand up, they still have some juice left in it.
For real?
Yep.
Mythbusters. No, it's not a big enough of a myth.
No,
to bust.
that'd be busted in a couple seconds.
Into the republic for which it stands, one nation
There was just
under
something
God.
that floated across the screen
Who's
just
widget?
then.
Huh?
Who's widget?
Widget.
Yeah, you said
Who's
for
widget?
widget stands.
Tell kids. Here,
Should I go with the pickle?
she go with
Called the pickle. Have you already done the lassoing a fish out of a moving car?
Привет, меня зовут Джон.
Patrick.
videos. Okay.
When night has fallen, when fear is coming, faith is lost and my hope exhausted, you will be my strength. When my mind says I'm not